hell, unbelievable. No one would believe what goes on unless they've experienced it themselves.
Hey, Dim. Hey, Dimity. Can you just pop your phone on mute just in between questions?
I beg your pardon.
That's all right.
Do we need to do that again?
I think that one's fine. I just heard a tiny noise, but I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Anna, when you look back and you remember a moment where you just were at rock bottom, tell me about that, please.
It's, I guess when the online trolling was at its extreme, it wasn't only, my ex-husband and his friends. It seemed like, hundreds of strangers. I felt like everybody was attacking me. And I felt like, even though I was reporting this, like nothing was being done. And actually to the point, you don't feel like you want to leave the house because, these people are anonymous, but I don't know if they know who I am or where I live. And yeah, you just withdraw into yourself. You don't even want to face the outside world.
Would you say you feared for your life?
I do. I still do. And yes, I did at that point. It's actually escalated after 7 years. It's not actually got better.
So this was a man you were married to, Anna. Why all this, do you think?
I believe just because the systems can be manipulated to use against you in family court. Unfortunately, we were in family court from him taking me there. And then it's like to gather evidence or to manipulate things or to paint things that aren't true. And also to cause harm, stress. I should be focusing on my children and other important issues, but you're constantly bombarded with, dealing with the online trolls.
So he was getting people to say awful things about you and then using those posts in court against you. Was that fair?
That's the actual extreme, yeah. He actually made a blog where he would document things, an anonymous blog, so it doesn't say who the writer is, it just uses my name and the suburb where I live, and then those posts or then posts that I hadn't even made in my name would actually turn up in his family court affidavits or even domestic violence trial affidavits as well. Which was just very concerning.
When you realised this was happening, Anna, what did you think?
I just, I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe that he can actually, do what he's done and it's not addressed adequately. Like there seems to be holes in the system where, abusers can manipulate it and attack you or paint things that are not true.
When you would put your head on the pillow at night, Anna, during all of this, how would you feel?
I felt, as I said at the time, completely distraught, and I actually did feel like I don't know how, I'm an adult and I was having trouble coping with this and feel like there's a lack of support. I cannot imagine how a child or teenagers going through similar things, being bullied online. It was extremely difficult for an adult to cope. So I really feel, for children and teenagers having to go through that. And that's why I want, to speak about it, and hopefully changes can come from what has happened to me and my family.
Police, what sort of powers did you think they had, or did they exercise when you would turn to them for help?
I do believe the laws are there. They are. The criminal code actually states using a carriage service to harass is a criminal offence. The problem is those laws are not being utilised because it's up to the discretion of the police officer that you get. So it used to be ACORN a few years ago, which was the cyber bullying. You make a report to there. I actually checked, I've made 10 reports to them over the years. And just police, I don't feel are actually taking it seriously, what happens and the extent and the effect it has on you it's still up to them whether they pursue charges or, go down that way or even investigate it. Half the time they don't even want to investigate it. They tell you to stay off social media.
What did they say back to you? Did they say that it's not worth it? Or?
Yeah, so there's been a number of ones. Eventually, after, I kept making complaints, he kept taking the evidence. On one occasion, someone sent me a messenger message saying, if you were my teacher, I'd shoot you in the head. So I thought, okay, this has gone beyond, this is a direct threat. I took it to the local police station and they said because he had spelt shoot wrong, they didn't think they could do anything about it. So anyway, but I kept persevering, and then when I'd received other death threats and threats to harm my children, I insisted that, I at least speak with an officer and show them all of the messages and what was happening. And I did, then it did get referred to the cybercrime unit. I feel the police officer at least listened to me a little bit. But then at the end of the day, they did do some investigation, and they did speak to my ex-husband, and his words were, we gave him a very stern warning that if he continued to do this, he was going to be prosecuted. But then on the same hand, they said they weren't going to go that step further and have the blog removed, because they weren't going to waste time and resources on getting subpoenas for Facebook, WordPress, etc. So, yeah. I felt just disgusting. I really believe, law, we're all equal under the law, so we should all be treated fairly. If this was, heavens forbid, but their partner or a relative or their daughter, I feel like they would take it more seriously. But in my case, they didn't.
Do you feel like this new legislation, these federal laws, are going to work?
I feel all publicity is good. It's a good step in the right direction. I read some of it where it says they're going to force Facebook and Twitter, etc., social media platforms to actually have to reveal the identities of people. I think that is great if it can be done. I just again feel you're still we already have systems in place where you go to the police. They have laws already, using a carriage service to harass. So even with these new laws or the fines, you're still going to have to go to the police. Someone is going to have to action that. And if the frontline people aren't doing what they're meant to do or taking it seriously, then how much change is, going to happen? That's my sort of fear.
Do you think that someone facing a $111,000 fine would be enough to deter people?
I think if a few successful cases or a few people were actually prosecuted, then definitely it might give people that think that they're totally untouchable behind a fake name and fake profile and it's just online trolling. You wouldn't say half these things to someone's face in the street. Then hopefully it would make other people think about what they were saying online as well if they were faced with those fines.
How does it feel to, still be able to log onto the internet and see all of that stuff that your husband made up about you?
Oh, it's horrendous. It still gets to me now. I actually, this has repercussions for now even my own children because they're getting to an age where they can look up things. Their friends might see it. Obviously, future employees would see it. It's constantly, I feel like I'm constantly having to defend myself against untruthful allegations, but the people that have done this have not been held accountable at all. They've just gotten away with it, and they gloat about getting away with it.
Give me some examples of some of the things. We'll get you to read them out for some overlay afterwards, but what are some of the things that have been written about you on that blog?
So they make allegations that I have committed fraud, that I've been charged with fraud, which to me is very serious because I have never been charged with fraud. I don't have any criminal history. stuff, like they make allegations that I've made up all the domestic violence things, which is easily proven because police themselves have put domestic violence orders on my ex-husband. So it's all just constantly, lies. It's not true. And then I feel they sort of stalk my every move. Like they even go to the point, excuse me, like, oh, Anna has taken a holiday, somewhere, and I'm thinking, well, how do these people know this? And they're just, stalking my every move for me to learn about and read on the internet. It's insanity.
This is not just cyberbullying.
No, this is intentional to destroy it's a character assassination is what I call it. They're trying to assassinate my character, and they're making absolute lies and defamation, which has an impact, on my personal life, family life, and work life. It's just not fair. Yeah.
Anything else that you would like to say? I think it's probably just really heartbreaking to have all this play out in front of your children.
Yeah, I just the main thing I wanted to highlight is even probably with these new laws and rules. So in my case, someone would make a fake profile with my picture. So it was my picture, my name, but it's very easy to make a fake profile. And then they would write things that, terrible things. They actually said that I like to flog my children and I don't see any harm in flogging my children. It was sort of like making out I was abusing the children. I reported it to Facebook. That one actually did, the fake profile got removed. I have the notification that, it wasn't me. But then, a year later, my ex-husband subpoenas the child safety records, and it turns up in there because someone has then gone a step further and has said they have seen me, because it's, my profile picture and my name, say these things, and they're very concerned. So that every time you ring child safety, even if it's anonymous, there's a report is made. Okay, so obviously child safety didn't go any further because they said there wasn't enough information, etc. But he gets his barristers and his solicitors to then bring that up in family court. And in family court, there's no strict rules of evidence. It's at the discretion of the judge. So you're then, again, having to defend yourself, and you start feeling like, you're going crazy because you're like, I can prove that I didn't write those things, this is ridiculous. This was a fake account. But it just sort of snowballs. So this is how serious it is that people can, set you up for false allegations just by using, 5 minutes to make a fake profile on Facebook.
That's outrageous.
Oh, it is, and I can prove it all, but it's to me, that person that did that should be charged. That is a very serious nature that could result. I do know of one other person, a similar thing happened, and child safety actually removed the child until a full investigation could be done. So this is how serious, this is becoming. It's just crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that, and in actual fact, how would you describe yourself? These people say this, but how would you describe yourself?
I'm just, a normal mother that loves her children. I've been a teacher for 15 years. I regard myself as a law-abiding person. I teach my children right for wrong, and I just feel like because I've stood up to the bullying or actually tried to campaign for changes, then I'm actually attacked more. And the people in positions of power that actually could help, they're not helping. They're in fact sometimes making it worse.
Fingers crossed, these new laws actually do work and help to step out the behaviour.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, thank you so much, Anna. That's all I need.
Yeah, great.